Welcome to 6 Million Seeds. I'm Meryl Fury.
And I'm Carrie Bruno. We are healthcare professionals and co-creators of this podcast.
Our mission is to emphasize the importance of sustainable agriculture, food, nutrition, and the environment and their connection to health. My name is Meryl Fury. I am a registered nurse and president and CEO of Plant-Based Nutrition Movement.
And my name is Carrie Bruno. I am a pharmacist and also certified in lifestyle medicine.
And she's on our board.
Yes. So starting from the beginning, a little bit about 6 Million Seeds itself. So the seeds portion started as an acronym. Students educated in environment, diet, and sustainability. And moving towards the 6 million portion of it, imagine you have 6 million seeds. And imagine what kind of difference that would make if those seeds were well watered and well rooted, how much they would grow, how much they would produce. Now imagine those 6 million seeds are 6 million children, and how much or how powerful they would be if they were educated in nutrition and ate healthy food from the start.
Yeah.
What a difference that would make in our world, how they would be able to truly develop or reach their full potential, less likely to develop chronic diseases later in life.
Yeah. And on top of that, how well they would be prepared to take care of the earth.
Yes.
What would that look like, right? How would that be for the soil and the forests and the other animals and the oceans? It would make a world of difference.
Yes, it would.
So what we have found out, we've been doing a fair amount of study on this. And of course, we grew up ourselves. We were kids at one point. And what we know is that kids are heavily influenced by the adults around them. Whether we know it or not, whether we think we're hiding things and sneaking things and they don't see it, they see it.
They see it.
They do see it.
Loud and clear.
Yeah. So the parents, of course, are a major influence on what the children eat, as far as portion size, food choices, texture choices, flavor profiles, how much water they drink. The parents have a major influence. Also, healthcare providers, because healthcare providers, every time the child goes into the doctor's office, they have a little conversation about the growth and development of the child, and they have an opportunity at that point to suggest what the child should be eating. Doesn't often happen, or they might say, oh, stay away from sweets, or make sure you're getting enough dairy, things like that. They might say, try to get in 5 vegetables a day, but that's pretty rare. So the doctor or nurse practitioner, physician's assistant, the healthcare professionals have a lot to say. And then educators, the kid is in school with a teacher for at least 5 hours a day, right? And if the teacher is sitting at his or her desk, drinking Diet Pepsi or Red Bulls or eating Cheetos and crackers or something like that, that's what the child learns. That is a learning environment, and the child is absorbing everything that happens in that environment, whether we think the child is or not.
Yeah, you can't really have parents and educators acting the way or eating what they eat and trying to tell children to eat differently. It doesn't work that way. If you want them to do it, you have to do it as well, because they're going to want to follow what you do.
That's right.
So
that's right. So you might ask yourself, who are we to be saying anything about feeding children, or
it's a fair question.
Yeah, it is. It's a good question. So we'll tell you a little bit about ourselves. Like I said, my name is Meryl Fury. I'm a registered nurse. I spent close to 30 years in public health, working with and supporting the health of the most vulnerable populations we have. Homeless people, single moms, living in desperate conditions. And one thing that I was able to see over years and years and years was that the quality of food that people eat has a lot to do with how their health turns out. I've seen cases where someone comes into the clinic and they get a diagnosis of diabetes, and the only thing they get told is, you'll be taking insulin and you'll need to cut down on your carbs, and maybe you need to start walking some. And with that, the person kind of stops listening you can literally see them. They kind of check out,
Mhm.
their eyes glaze over. And then when the healthcare provider says, okay, do you have any questions, after they've talked for 15 minutes or 5 minutes, however long they have, and they say, do you have any questions? And the person sort of comes back to alert and says, no. And the doctor says, okay, well, then we'll send you to the dietitian. And that's where it starts. And from then on, the person is pretty much guaranteed to stay on medications for the rest of their life,
Mhm.
with ever increasing dosages and likely ever increasing amounts of numbers of prescriptions.
That
So
is
it'll
true.
start with maybe metformin, and then it gradually advances to insulin,
Mhm.
and then it gradually, get the high blood pressure medication, and you get
Mhm.
it just
Never
goes
ending
on.
cycle.
That's right. That's right. You get the medications to deal with the side effects of the medications,
Mhm.
and it goes like that. And what we really want to do here is stop that cycle. We need to disrupt that cycle when children are small,
Mhm.
so that they never have to deal with all those illnesses that their parents and great grandparents and everybody else have been dealing with for the last 100 years.
Mhm.
We know better and we can do better.
Yes, we can. So a little bit about my background. So a little bit different than most people. I grew up with a dad that is a chiropractor. And so I feel like the focus has always been more natural and holistic approach to health. I had, with him as a chiropractor, I've grown up being adjusted since the day I was born. I really haven't taken many meds growing up. I've always been pretty healthy. And same with my parents. I took a little bit of a detour in high school. I was always interested in more of the math and science aspects, and really saw myself taking some sort of track down to healthcare, whatever that may be. And so I finally found pharmacy and felt that I fit. So went that route, and, straight to pharmacy school. Most people know pharmacists learn about the different chronic disease states and the medications to treat them, which is my, approach to thus far. But then when I was exposed to whole food, plant-based eating, I started researching and pretty much getting any information I could. And that was the wake-up call. And what turned the tide for me is realizing that those chronic conditions and all of the medications to treat them, yes, they're important to a degree, but that is not the end game. And you don't have to be on medications for the rest of your life. There are certain chronic conditions where medications are helpful and necessary, but the typical ones, high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, there's many more, but those are reversible. And that was something that was never, at least to me, I never got that impression in pharmacy school. And I wish that a lot of healthcare providers would know that, because it makes a huge difference. And it also, part of why I think, this podcast is important. I want to hopefully empower people to make those changes, and for them to realize that they don't have to suffer and be on these medications their whole life. If they want to make a change, they have that power and they can do it.
True.
They don't have to, when their doctor tells them, okay, you have this condition and you're going to be on meds for the rest of your life, they don't have to be. And so another thing I wanted to mention as well, I've heard so many people say that these chronic diseases that they get diagnosed with are the cause of bad genes. And okay, well, my parents have it, so I'm going to end up with it. And another thing about whole food, plant-based nutrition is you might be predisposed in genetics a little bit towards these conditions, but the way you eat and your lifestyle choices can determine whether or not you actually get these conditions. You might be predisposed to some of them in a degree, but you don't have to end up like your parents and grandparents.
That is the truth. Absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. So that's what we want to impart to people and have us start, like I said, disrupting this cycle. So kids don't have to keep
Mhm.
living this like Groundhog Day nightmare
Yeah.
of, the same illnesses my mom had and my grandma had and my great grandma had. That's what
Mhm.
I'm going to have. And I have no choice about it.
Mhm.
That myth has been disproven, debunked. You don't have to do that anymore, which is
No.
the good news. So one thing that we intend to do here is, we'll be interviewing people who are well-known and not so well-known in the field, people who are
Mhm.
just amazing and up to great things and doing great things with whole food, plant-based way of eating and way of life.
Mhm.
And we will also be doing cooking demos
Mhm.
and little tours and going to restaurants and just
Yeah.
having fun.
Having fun.
Yeah.
And
then,
showing everyone how fun it can be.
yes, that is one of the things, right?
Yeah.
Like people think, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to be eating
salads
salad
the rest of
every
my life.
day.
No.
Oh, no, no, we
Not
don't
at
do
all.
that. I mean, salad's good. We love
Yeah.
salad, but it's not every day and it's not 3 meals a day. That's
Yeah.
for sure. There's a great lot you can do
Mhm.
with.
Can still eat all the typical foods that you are used to, just
Right.
made in a slightly different way.
That's right, and healthier. We'll be publishing 2 episodes a month, and you'll be able to find them on all your favorite podcast platforms. If you would like to get a hold of us, and we certainly would love to chat with you and exchange ideas and hear what you have to say about it. You can find us by email at 6mseeds@pbnm.org. We'll be on Facebook and Instagram. And our website is pbnm.org. That stands for Plant-Based Nutrition Movement, which is a whole set of people in the Chicagoland and Wisconsin area who are dedicated to making a difference with food. We will see you in about 2 weeks. In the meantime, if you have any questions or suggestions or thoughts, drop us a line at 6mseeds@pbnm.org.